Okay, and so right now, based on that league structure, because we will have fewer overall events that lead to progression, there'll be more teams able to progress from those events that we have.
So a lot deeper than just your, winning Alliance captain. Your Inspire winning Alliance captain.
Right, so we're gonna go down that list.
And we'll also, if it can, the 6 number can hold, and this is, just soft, because we don't know the numbers yet for sure. But that does mean that the entire winning Alliance would move on to the next level. And so we don't have that awkwardness of, I'm a captain, Alliance captain, I'm gonna be a semifinalist captain. I'm being asked by the person next to me to join their Alliance. I'm gonna say no. Because this is the only shot I got. Which makes it kind of hard. It's not really the way we want this set up,
Awesome. Keep us track. Turn our slide up. Awesome. Okay, so leagues are meant to be shorter and less of a lift. So the meets themselves, I liken them to scrimmages, and that there is no judging, there is no opening and closing ceremony. This is all about bringing your robot to a competition setting and letting your robot compete. And so they're generally going to be half days. So imagine if you're traveling, you're gonna go to a Saturday and you could potentially do 2 meets in one day. So you have a morning meet and then an afternoon meet. You could potentially do 2 in a day, or you could do that morning meet on Saturday and the next weekend do an afternoon meet. Meets are flexible enough that there is the ability to do them in multiple locations, multiple spaces. And so you could do it at a community center. You could do it in a multi-purpose room. You could do it in a church basement. So it's not the big qualifier experience. Therefore, it's a lot easier to just get it up and running. You ultimately will compete in up to 3 meets. And your best 10 matches of the 15 that you would ultimately play, I'm doing that right? Of the 15 you would play, those 10 are what follow you to the league championship. So again, up to 3 meets, your best 10 matches of the 3 meets that you're a part of, those qualifying points follow you to your league championship. If you attend 2 meets, then you automatically qualify to go to your league championship. Everybody with me? Yeah.
So and think about it, it's just for qualifying matches.
Yeah.
On different days. That's really what it is. Which is good.
It is.
Because 5 is not that many.
Right.
Whoops. Hello.
So just X out of that, I think.
It was no longer from the room.
I didn't know there was one.
I think that was from earlier. I think we're good now.
All right,
Yep.
let's go to
All right, moving on. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so again, we've already talked about this a little bit, but so it is an easier on-ramp for new teams, rookie teams, mentors, new members of teams, and honestly, the ability to participate in a competition at all, right? So as you know, many of us are like, oh my God, I cannot compete at the first weekend of events because we're just simply not going to be ready to do it. And everybody's freaking out and nobody wants to do it because this is my 1 of 2 shots to get anywhere. And so the point is that now you're gonna have up to 3 meets to go to and have 5 matches at each one of those, and we're gonna take your top 10. So you've got more time to iterate, more time to sort of get a feel for what the season is all about, and gives your kids an opportunity to work with other students on other teams for an opportunity for more of that collaboration. And there's no judging happening at meets. But I will say, because some people have said, well, doesn't that take away from the whole culture of like, this isn't just about the robot? One thing that we can do as a community is we can choose to use meet time also for the purposes of doing robot hospitals, workshops on how to go into judging, preparing for these other aspects of things so that the kids have more opportunity to practice before they're in that league championship doing it for real. Yep. Oh, we're on time. 15 minutes.
Can we go to the next slide?
2 minutes? Okay, we're almost done. So, all right, so it also will help strengthen your FCC community. Again, we talked about this a little bit, but because they are geographically placed, the teams can build stronger connections within those local communities. We're also looking at ways for those veteran teams to get hooked up with those newer rookie teams so that you all have the ability to communicate with each other and work together and support one another. Much like the last presentation was all about building a pod or a hub, leagues will naturally do that as just given the way they're set up. Again, we already talked about this, so I'm just gonna keep going. Next slide, I got a minute and 25 seconds. So this one goes back to that geographical point, because I know a lot of people are like, well, what if I'm out in the outskirts and like, oh God, what, travel and all those things. And the reality is that you're going to be increasing your match time, not your travel time. So if you were to take one competition day, go to a local meet near you, you could do a meet in the morning and a meet in the afternoon, and you could take those as your 10 opportunities to play, and those could be your meets. If you chose to travel to a third meet to get 5 more, that is another option for you. The goal is you're gonna go from having 10 plays at 2 qualifiers to 15 plays prior to going to a league championship where you do judging and all the rest. So more play time.
5 more qualifiers, 5 more matches at that
That's right.
championship.
That's right.
It'll be focused on win-loss then
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
For the-
lowest, highest
Yeah.
games, okay.
Next. And then right now, this is the way advancement would work, right? So you at the bottom, you've got your league mates, you've got 12 to 15 teams competing at each of those meets. Every team that plays at least 2 meets automatically advances to the league championship, and those qualifying points go with them based on their best 10 matches. From there, you go to your league tournament. The league tournament will be structured much like the qualifier, opening ceremony, closing ceremony, judging, all of that, the pomp and whatnot that goes into that, that will all be there. And then the advancement rules from the game manual will apply, and then from there, you advance to district champs, which then ultimately leads to a world advancement in the event that's where things fall.
So there it says top 10 QP match points,
Or your top 10 matches of the 15 that
so
you
it's still
play.
your high scores.
Yeah.
That's right, it's still your high scores.
Yeah, you said win-loss scores, yeah.
It is high scores,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
so
trying to
of the meets, so of your meets, you get 5 matches at each meet. You get to take the 10 matches that gave the best amount of points, your best matches, those go with you to league championship.
So basically, when you come to your league tournament, the teams will already be ranked based on that data. And then you play 5 more and it plays into that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because robots will obviously, I like leagues, but if teams we're trying to get them to play earlier,
Yeah,
some teams will still want to play later because your robot's going to perform higher later in the season.
Right, so that's why I think that toss those first 5, because that first meet's gonna be pretty valuable to you, right?
Just
Because you're gonna-
right, because that's what you're gonna learn.
And then you're gonna want to do it later,
Yeah,
yeah, so.
Yeah, I
That's,
mean, there
that's,
is,
that's a good point. I'm
Yeah.
kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
About the equity side of this, with the teams that can only, let's say that are regionally bound, right? If they don't have access to good partners, to the same level of partner team as where there's more of a concentration of teams, right? How are you all planning to account for that in the league tournament structure? Geographically or?
it will be geographically based,
Okay.
yeah. It will, be. There's
Like
just,
mine.
yeah,
How large of a geographic region are you looking at? Being on the
great,
outskirts,
yeah, great question.
pushing out to Western Maryland and then to travel out to Western Maryland for us is a whole.
In the hall, yeah. And so initially, our hope was to keep it to 7 to 8 leagues, but as we've started doing we've made some heat maps and we're looking at where boundaries and traffic patterns and where multiple teams exist, because we do have that as well. It may be as many as 10 leagues right now.
When will we get information on what they might include?
So it's forthcoming. We're gonna make sure that we have the next season up and running and functioning, and then we'll start the workshops and webinars and all the information about leagues for the 25-26 year.
We are gonna, thank you so
So,
much.
I'd say
because we do have to
thank
go
you.
to the next.
Yeah, but that's 25, 60, right?
Yes, 25, 26.
I'm fine with that.
That's the goal. No, this year, same as always, wildfires galore.